Today's guests are Lisa and Rachel Guirsch-Webb, partners in love and struggle and in survival. Their story, titled Fallen, is a raw and honest look at what it means to hold on to connection while navigating incarceration, trauma, identity, and the long road back to one another. This isn't a story about romance, it's a story about resilience and staying when everything around you says to walk away. About healing in the presence of another human who sees your brokenness and still chooses you. Together, Lisa and Rachel show us what it looks like to fall apart, fall forward, and fall into a kind of love that doesn't flinch in the hard stuff. I'm honored to sit down with them today and hear their truth together. Okay, boys and girls, this one's different. This one's heavy. This one is holy. Lisa and Rachel Guirsch-Webb are two women who lived through trauma, separation, and survival together. Their story is about falling and choosing to rise anyway. First off, thank you both for showing up and being willing to have this conversation on camera. Tell us in your own words, who are you today and how do you show up in the world together?
Who I am today. So I am a P2P scholar, mentor, now author. I'm also a co-founder and executive director of Project Rebound PNW, which is the only expansion model of San Francisco State Project Rebound outside the state of California. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I'm a badass sister. And I'm a dedicated and faithful wife.
I think we show up in solidarity and as we've re-entered the world outside of the walls, we've became like one to our family and our friends and even our mentees and mentors. They oftentimes get our names backwards because we finish each other's sentences and
pick the same clothes even if we're not looking.
Yeah.
And we come out and she's like, "You're wearing the same shirt as me."
Yeah. So we show up as a team, and the ultimate, the first reason for our success is us being together and supporting each other.
So the title of your chapter in the book is Fallen. That word hits pretty hard. So what does it mean to fall as individuals and as a couple?
So obviously I've fallen tattooed on my face. But so everybody always asks, where did you fall from? They want to know, what county you fell from or what jail you fell from or what community you fell from, maybe what tribe you fell from. Anyways, it's a very powerful statement to the world. Like, I have fallen, but look at me now. And I like to be the person that people look at knowing that I have these things in my background, but if I can do it, they can do it,
I'll go a little deeper than that. Well, she decided she wanted a tattoo on her face that said "Fallen" because
years ago, remember?
When we first got together, I asked her where she fell from, but I meant did you where in heaven did you fall from, into my life personally? So it's been all around. It's just very meaningful to us, the way we came up with it.
That's pretty cool. So it went from almost like a pickup line to a personal moniker.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you already have this?
No. So when we first met, I always wanted a tattoo on my jawline, I was kind of perplexed between forgive me and then when she said that to me, where did you fall from? Like, falling from heaven, fallen angel. Where did you fall from? And then I changed my mind after we got out, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna get fallen tattooed on my face. And she said, okay, let's go. So we went, and the same tattoo guy that did her tattoo on her chest, which is a name that was given to me, uh, did the one on my face, and I'm in love with it because I'm in love with the word and I'm in love with the meaning. And then when we were asked, do you want to write your chapter? You know? I said, yeah. And he said, well, what are you going to name it? And I looked right at Rachel, Fallen. That's how that happened.
That story couldn't have written itself better. It's pretty cool. So you were navigating identity, trauma, and incarceration, not just as individuals, but as partners. So what's something that people misunderstand about love and commitment behind bars?
So women go to prison, and some are gay and some are not. And if you're not, the big joke is you go to prison, you're only gay for the stay, And I had to think about that concept. Only gay for the stay. And um, the misconception is that there's not a very high percentage of people that release from prison and are still married, or release from prison and are still together after that, or release from prison and even call their girlfriend or wife or whatever are there for them. She picked me up at the gate.
I think that I have this full visual picture in my head that when people are removed from their families and society and all put into one small space, really large space, because there are a lot of people put behind bars, as humans, it's natural to commune, to make your own community, and it's exactly what it is. I can remember one particular person I think about. She came in pregnant, she left, she came back pregnant, she left, and she came back pregnant again, all within my 70 months there. And so but every time she came back, she was so happy and so loved, and the community just within the walls just is like a reunion. At certain times, people with recidivism just come, but it's like it's really like you choose your family. You choose your family, even if you're not incarcerated, but being severed like that and then healing together creates this. And especially in Oregon, because there's only one women's prison in Oregon, so the whole state. So we know every woman in Oregon that's ever been incarcerated, because if you didn't do time with them, you just missed them, or somebody they were really close with was really close with them, overlapping sentences. So it's and it's also a point of harassment and punishment. As a lot of times there's young girls, like from 17 to 20 something, and they don't even know their sexual identity or who they are. And then the guards are basically shaming There's no touching allowed. It doesn't matter if an old woman's crying or if somebody tripped and fell. You can't touch their stuff. You cannot touch them. So as women,
It was
and
hard.
and the guards just, not all of them. Majority of the guards basically get excited about making sure that they're split up. They'll put you in separate units. So if they know you're their girlfriend, or if people are outwardly girlfriends, or trying to just barely touch their hand when you're walking in the hallway, and then they'll be watching on the cameras and be like, "Oh,
They
holding
call it a
hands."
sexual.
Yeah,
They infract you.
and then you are a prison rape elimination
Act.
person, and
Then
so
you're a predator.
now you're a predator.
So
It's very detrimental.
So the DOC basically beats the humanity out of people without using their fists. So we as women, no matter what kind of woman you are, women are naturally very nurturing, or most cases are very naturally nurturing. Some people don't have it in them to do that. But so you're telling me you're putting me in a prison, and then you're telling me I can't hug my side bunkie that I've created a relationship with, who's 67, whose daughter just died from an overdose or something, and she's bawling, or a woman that falls down because they tripped and fell because they're older, right? And you can't reach down to pick them up because you're not allowed to touch them. They do this to us constantly. They've done this to us. And so we hide ourselves a lot from officers there. There's a lot of officers that target people and we know who they are. And then there's a lot of officers that are like, that's why they commit suicide. There's a high rate of suicide and high rate of heart attacks and high rate of a lot of things for the officers, because there's something wrong with you if you come to work every day just to yell at women. I don't care who you are. I cannot do that. If that was my job, to come and tear up your stuff and yell at you and put you in the hole, and you know what I mean? There's something wrong with those people. And so they try to turn us into monsters, literally. And
keep us in that mind of, you have to hide, you have to lie, you have to be deceptive, you have to, it just keeps, there's no such thing as rehabilitation when they're making you to make these choices about your identity. I'm down to your identity.
Like you think that you can make me be like that for 120 months and then expect me to get out and be loving and nurturing to the public or to my family or to my children or to whatever? What are you creating? It's just a perpetuating circle. You're creating a monster. You're not rehabilitating people, and that's an issue. But for identity, they come around, they do these little interviews, the PRIA interviews, and they always ask you, what's your sexual orientation? Well, first of all, it's not your business. Second of all, if I tell you that I'm gay, you're going to set my file aside and label me as a predator, target me and watch me. So anybody that I accidentally touch or rub up against, I'm going to the hole. I know their game. I've seen it. And so I just tell them, nope, I'm straight. Nope, I'm straight. Come on. They know better. But no, I'm straight. I don't have girlfriends in prison and things like that, but I don't necessarily jump on board with other women that are like, oh my God, he's so cute, or oh my God, he's so, you know what I mean? He's so hot, or whatever. They don't have anything better to talk about. I don't do that because I don't think like that. So I'm not like that. So they know better. And officers that know us, they knew better. They just never said anything.
Well, I don't know if this is the same thing. I always think it's kind of funny because as I was trying to adjust to my environment, I noticed that most all fights in a women's prison are domestic. So there may be some reasons why that, maybe there's something that's overlooked. Maybe it's not that they're just homophobic. Maybe they're thinking of making sure that the inmates are safe, because if you put them in a cell, together and then one of them comes black and blue, well, then,
Or strangled to death.
or yeah, so I'm sure there's always two sides of the story, but
Yeah.
so when I saw my first real prison fight, when it wasn't a couple, then I was like, oh, okay, that was more what I expected all the time, but it didn't happen that often.
So, remember when I went to the hole from minimum and I came over to medium, and I didn't know anybody over there anymore except for lifers, and that wasn't the unit that they put you in when you come out of the hole. And I saw a table and everybody in medium fights over their tables, and I was like, I am not fighting over these tables. I'm only passing through. So I walked up to her table and I said, well, I'm commandeering this table, and I'm sitting here just for a short time, and I never come out of my cell, but when I need to sit down and eat, I'm going to sit here, and then I'm just passing right on through, going back to minimum. Everybody looked at me, okay. I didn't even really know any of them. I was just like, it's probably the calmest table to walk up to, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to fight over any tables in medium. That's ridiculous. So they put us in the kitchen to work. Everybody has to work in the kitchen. And I tried to talk to her, and she ran from me. You ran from me. Then what happened?
Then you wouldn't stop. You got a stove right next to my station in the kitchen.
Because they told me I couldn't be back there in the Diet Coke area, because that's where all the contraband comes from. Contraband meaning sugar or just something stupid, right?
I mean, I didn't talk to anybody. It was like, okay, so it wasn't until I got to minimum and I had to talk to a guard, and he said, what were you doing out there? Did you smoke like a whole pack of menthol cigarettes outside? I was like, no. He's like, what happened to your voice? I said, just my voice. They'd never heard me speak. Anybody. Now, most, at least I didn't be mean to you, because most times somebody would talk to me and I would just be like, oh, do I know you? Do you know my name? Do you know my name? Because I don't know your name and I don't talk to strangers. So, don't talk to me. And then I can remember a few people that I had to tell them more than once, and literally took my friend Marie she's my friend now, but I took Marie to the side and I had to tell her, look, you're making this really hard. I don't know you. I'm not talking to you. Quit trying to talk to me, because you're just making me look bad, mean. Don't talk to me. Well, we ended up being really good friends later, but so for her it was way different, because I couldn't, because I was attracted to you, and I didn't really understand that yet, because I'm been gay my whole life, but I didn't know anything other than what is expected or what you're supposed to do. Get married,
Gender
have
roles.
kids, blah blah blah. So I did that. I tried that multiple times, and have a wonderful tribe of children. By the grace of God, that's what I identify as I'm a mom, first, until I met Lisa. And then I'm like, oh, I have an opportunity to be the wife I saw myself as from the beginning.
Oh.
So I got the best of both worlds, but I might have took the long way around. But times are changing, so.
And I come from a background of some serious long-term domestic violence. And that's how I got to prison, actually. And abuse issues with men my entire life since I was a tiny child. And so I don't really like the stereotypical, there's always these stereotypes about, females don't know how to drive, or they just cry all the time, or they're never happy. You know what I mean? There's always stereotypical things, right? Well, this stereotypical male behavior that I always knew, right? Because that's the only thing I was ever exposed to. I couldn't find any good men. The only good men I had was the few in my family that I was like, where's all the good men? What is going on in the world? And then obviously all the good men are always taken because, can't ever find any good ones. Anyways, it wasn't until I got out of prison that I started finding a lot more good men. But coming from abuse issues, I want nothing to do with that anymore. I'm so sick of it. Like, I know that if I put myself in that position any longer, I'll go to prison for murder because I'm tired of being beat on, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. And so this 10 years in prison gave me the opportunity to step away from all that, stay away from all that, make better choices. And in the meantime, I realized I was gay. Everybody been telling me my whole life I was gay, and I argued with them. Like, they harassed me my whole life. You're just a lesbian. I was like, I am not. Well, I am. And I'll never be anything else. So, it was quite the story, how we met. And then I had to go back to minimum. And when I told her, I just wanted her to just say one word, and I'll go right back to the hole and stay in medium with you. Like, just say stay, and I will probably walk up and punch somebody or what, you know what I mean? Cause a scene or something and make them take me to the hole so that my level goes down so that I could stay with her. And she didn't say anything. She was so scared.
Just shy.
Yeah. You're very shy. And I'm a social butterfly, and I taught GED math the whole time I was in prison, so everybody in prison knows me. Everybody talks to me. I can't go anywhere without 50 people running up to me, and so that made you talk, because everybody's always walking up to me, talking to me, asking me math questions and doing all this stuff, and she's just like, because she doesn't like to talk to strangers.
It is something that of all the things it could have been, I guess I really, once when I started college and prison, is when I ultimately I blossomed, because I learned I was teachable, and that's when I started engaging with the other students in my class and having something to talk about other than, something in common with other women that were incarcerated as well. That's when I really started reestablishing some meaningful relationships in my life, because at the start of my relapse, I don't know if I didn't see the worth in myself or I didn't see the worth in other people, but it was just myself and the world, and so losing my kids was like losing my entire life. So it was just basically a zombie until about fall of 2021, when I started college.
Yeah.
And I had met you before that, so that was, the stepping stone and the support that I needed to open my mouth and to engage with human people again. So I'm grateful for that.
You guys. Don't move.
My glasses keep fogging up.
What happens if we cry?
You look trashy, and I like it.
So you didn't just survive, you stayed. What kept you both committed during separation?
So we really haven't been separated very long. So when I commandeered the table and I worked in the kitchen, and then we only talked for not very long there. And I never said anything to her about just tell me to stay and I'll stay, And these are the things that DOC makes you do, They make you act crazy just to go to the hole, to stay wherever it is that you need to stay. which is ridiculous. And it made me
It
cry.
wasn't very long. I think it was only, I had like maybe 4 months left before I was eligible to go to minimum.
And
I don't know
I
how
told
many
her,
years they make you do that.
well, I told you I would be there.
Yeah. And
Just come.
the problem that happened is we had COVID and the wildfires in Oregon, so most of Oregon caught on fire. And so we actually got evacuated. And that was when it was, I saw Lisa and I was having these feelings and I was super excited. And through all the chaos, we got to sit and have an extended, I don't know if we were having a meal or what, but we got to sit at a eat table and talk way longer than normal because everybody was getting off the buses and going to the new prison that they moved us to.
It was chaos.
Yeah, it was crazy. We got a good hour or two to sit and just talk, and that's when I knew Lisa was my friend and somebody that I wanted to spend time with. And so that postponed my move to minimum just a little bit. I think it was within 1 month after we got back from the fires, I moved to minimum. There's no way I would have even gone to minimum if I wouldn't have had to reconnect with you. They're just like, when are you coming to
Yeah.
medium? And I'm like,
When
I
are
don't
you
want
coming to
to.
minimum?
I don't want to. I didn't want to. It's dorm setting. So I was a little bit reliant on myself. And so I was really nervous, but
Where'd they put you?
having Lisa, yeah. So they moved me to some crazy place, and I told a guard that I used to cook for in the kitchen. I told him, like, you gotta get me out of here. I've been in prison all this time. I know one person in that whole unit. So he's like, oh, okay, I'll move you, which that never usually happens. And he put me right next to Lisa.
But
It was very nice.
when I found out somebody was moving in the bunk next to me, I was like, who is it? You know what I mean? Because I'll either make your life good and happy, or I'll make your life real hard and you'll move real fast. Because I cannot tolerate shenanigans. Yeah, I'm too old for this. I've been doing too much time and don't tolerate it. If you're just on pause and you're gonna get out and start doing the same thing, miss me with all of that. You gotta go. You gotta get off my street or get off the whole entire bunk, like 10 bunks, get out of here. Because because I'm not 18 years old and it's cool to go to prison. It's not cool. Like I've I've lost everybody that has ever supported me. Like they all died in 1 year when I first got to prison, and then my mom got stage 3 cancer and I lost my mind in prison, and I don't have any patience for all that. So young girls don't even know what it is that they're losing or what it is that really matters in the world because they're too young. They've never experienced the loss of that before. So when they get older, they're going to find out. And I don't have the time to explain it to them. Like, I dedicated my life to teaching GED math, and I was the advanced algebra person that taught our own math class and pushed people through to the very end. So, like, I have like 200 and something GEDs under my belt that are not mine. People that I thought would never get their GED because I was like, but they did. And I am the biggest, the most proudest person at graduation, screaming and crying because their family is finally proud of them. And I just watch from behind the scenes, and that's all that matters to me. That they can now flip burgers at McDonald's and get a 401k because they have a GED, that matters to me.
And he used to, after college came into prison and all the students yours could see us going to college and staying up all night doing our handwritten
assignments.
handwritten papers because we were on COVID. We couldn't get to the computer lab. They're like, oh, okay. They saw a next step. Like, I want to get my GED so I can do college. And then
The whole different world.
and so that was a big naturally leading by example, allowed us to lead by example.
They followed.
And then looking back, all said and done, it's like having P2P as a place that whether they have their GED or not, they're welcome to come. So it's like reaching back into those students and those people, like, you have a place, like, you're still struggling with math? Okay, great. We have a place that'll pay you to learn math to get your GED
To go to
go to
college.
college. And P2P has bridged that gap, which, of course, we read Stan's book inside.
Oh my God, it ignited a fire in me. I was screaming around. I gotta find this guy.
I basically still thought of him as an author, as the same author as a fantasy book that I read or a sci-fi book or something, although it was a biography, so that's really, or an autobiography, whichever one. And I never thought today that I would, be hugging him and breaking bread and eating family dinners with him, meeting regularly from across the nation with him. Like it's pretty amazing that there's that we belong. We have a place, and everybody, all our people, is welcome.
We were told by Deb Arthur, who is a professor. Well, she was an adjunct professor now, but she is the one that got her foot in the door to bring PSU inside to take college classes. We were told by her, lived experience is something you can put on your resume now. And we looked at each other. We did not believe her.
Yeah.
We were like, no. We were like, are you kidding me? Because here she is, this cute little bubbly, very charming, very smart, very like on a mission to help women, succeed.
And make education accessible to people behind bars.
Yeah, she's got a JD, and so we all looked, Rachel and I looked at each other like, this lady, does she even know what we go through, like incarceration? Does she know, like, is she just coming in like, oh no, so happy? No, she knew what she was talking about.
She told us that there's a nation full of people that know our names and cannot wait for us to release to meet us in person.
She did that for us.
Yeah. So, and this is what she was talking about. We attended our first NCHEP conference
a week after I got out.
Yeah, the weekend.
Yeah,
I think the weekend after you got out on Friday, so one whole week after. And it was virtual because of COVID still, but it was.
We didn't even know what was going on in the world.
We had no clue. So
she really set us up for success, and so we started off on that path. She was like, "You have a community to come to. You are very well sought after. Your lived experience is something that you can use to help other people. Because we spend a lot of time helping people in prison." But she did that for us, and then she brought Stan's book into us. She said, "What do you even want to do, Lisa?" And I said, "I want to be a doctor. I don't know how that's never going to be possible, but I want to be a doctor." She said, "Wait a minute, I know somebody." I said, "What?" And she brought us the book, and I was like, I have to know this guy. I have to know. So when we got out and we were doing the Hoover app, Rachel said, Lisa, he's on here. I just talked to him.
That famous author.
Yeah, I just talked to him. And my whole world just crumbled because I was so scared. I was like, what am I going to say to this guy? I just want to know, how do I do this? Because I wanted what he had, man. He had a background of incarceration. He had a PhD. He was now somebody in a position of very prestigious schools and places. He had a very successful career. He was able to take care of his family, and he helps other people. So I want that so bad. I wanted it so bad, and I have been chasing him across the nation since just to do that. So it changed our lives. It changed my life. She found out she was teachable, and I found out that I am worth something. My words are worth something, and my time that I gave the state and the time that everybody has taken from me was worth something. And she really gave us that, and she gave us Stan. And then just watched us spin cookies across the nation. Like, here's this. Now, what are you going to do with it? And it's been amazing.
That's awesome. That actually leads me into my next question. How do you navigate healing together as a couple on the other side of all of this?
I think sometimes what's so frustrating is that we're so alike that, like I said, if we walk out, I could not even, she could go in and take a shower and like get dressed and then go out the other door, because there's 2 doors in our bathroom. And then I come out and she looks at me and I look at her, and we're wearing the same colors, the same outfit, the same design, the same something. Something's always the same, right?
But backing up a minute, so we were always able to be college partners in prison. So we were always bunkies. We were always sellies. We were always able to go do her work with her. She could go to my work with me and volunteer. Like, so we were always together. And
I have the gift of gab, and I have a lot of good relationships and rapport with captains, and I will just go straight to them and be like, you cannot separate me from my college partner. This is the person I do my homework with. This is the person that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to chop it up with somebody who's talking about drugs and robbing whoever. I don't want all that. I want somebody that's on the same path as me, and this is my college partner, and you cannot separate us. I even went to mental health one time.
well, so when we got out, we literally stayed within cell distance of each other. We showered together.
Learn behavior.
Yeah, we brushed our teeth together. We
don't have a
sat
problem
together. We ate together. We did everything together for a long time.
Was there ever a moment where one of you was like, babe, the couch is huge. What are you doing?
No.
No, it took her a long time to talk me into moving all my stuff out of just one room. She actually did it for me because I couldn't do it. I never wanted to take my stuff upstairs because we have an upstairs, we have 2 bedrooms up there. And she started taking stuff out of one room because I had all my stuff in one room and taking it upstairs and putting it where it's supposed to go, right? So there was never a moment of, hey, spread out. I mean, she was like, hey, we live in this house. You can like live in every room that's here. This is ours. And I was like, okay. But I still have a backpack and all my stuff is still stacked in one corner, And my comfort zone was, I didn't come out of my room for a while, huh?
Well, we only had rooms for a while at transition house. So we got so blessed to have our own place within 6 months of paroling.
Yeah.
So.
And you, when we applied for the place, it's so funny. It's the way it works.
We did all the programs, went well, and prepared for all the stuff that our
all the explanations
teached us how to do. And when it got to the time to go apply, it was so easy. I just looked at the old man, and he was the owner, and I just said, I don't want to waste anybody's time here. Just please, we really want to rent this house. We have the money. We make enough money. We can do this. Please just Google us.
If you want to, she goes, we just got out of prison. And if you want to know about us, Google us. Because Deb Arthur had set us up with such good publicity, like when we got out,
It had the front page of the Oregon newspaper.
3 full pages in the front, in the A section.
And it talked about each one of our partner Keisha talked about the 3 of us in depth about our charges, our incarceration date, our release date, and so yeah, it said it all. I mean, I couldn't have wrote it better on an application, So
it was so amazing. And so she said, if you want to know about us, Google us. And he goes, okay. And the next day, it wasn't even the next day, really. He said,
I think that night probably.
Yeah, he called and he was like, "Okay,
I
can
love
you
what
guys
you
be
guys are
here?
doing.
Yeah, can you guys be here to sign the paperwork?" And we were
Yeah.
like, "What?" Oh, he
Yeah.
Googled us and he was like, because he's
Love what
already,
you guys are doing.
yeah, he's already made his money his whole life. He's like in his 80s and he's like, just wants to help people get set up before he dies, you know?
And he's just another part of this amazing support system that when we think of other people that we know or that we don't know or the people we don't even know, we think about how can we help these people? Well, the no help we can give them because we together we do everything together. We don't have to go to DMV alone. We don't ever have to eat alone.
Ride the Max.
We never had to.
That's horrible.
Even just leaving the house, like we never go alone. So, and our landlord and our instructors and our family members, my aunt,
And Red Lodge and
P2P is just like the thing that we can give to those people that have nothing, because it is a family setting. It is a family situation. Well, we are blessed to have both biological and chosen family, and that's something that you can't just really like give to everybody. And so having P2P to welcome them to is it just fits right along with. It's like the one thing we couldn't give, we can give now. And with a promise that they're welcome.
People don't have that when they get out of prison. Like, you don't go to prison with all of your amazing relationships with people still intact because you've hurt the people that you love the most and that love you the most. And a lot of people burn their bridges and people don't have anybody anymore when they release. And so we have each other, and then we we have our family members, that accepted both of us together as a whole, as a one, which for her family was the whole flip side, you know what I mean? Because they were like, what? And then for my family, it was like, my mom's like, listen, I don't believe in that. I wasn't raised like that, but I will love her like she's my own daughter. She said, if she loves you, Lisa, I will roll with it. And I said, wow, that's amazing. Like, I don't blame my mom for the way she was raised. She was raised like that, okay? That gender roles is what we're talking about. She was raised with, this is what you do, you grow up, you know what I mean? You get married, you have children, and this is what you do. They weren't raised like, you're free to do whatever you want, be in love with whoever you want, And she's like, this is a whole new world for her. But I hand it to her because everybody in my entire family's like, okay. I have a niece that calls us her rainbow ants. My mom calls us her rainbow ants. You know what I mean? My niece's rainbow ants. I just smile. And my niece rocks with it. Everybody rocks with it. But Project Rebound. So when we got out of prison, Deb Arthur said, I want you to build a program on PSU's campus and model Project Rebound, because there was a relationship that had been forged between San Francisco State and PSU, right? So we got out and we built that program, modeled Project Rebound, created relationships with them, like meaningful relationships, long-term relationships, family relationships. And since then, everywhere we go, we represent Project Rebound because we are Project Rebound. But we now have ties to San Francisco State University's Project Rebound and involved in P2P implementing his program. Because Project Rebound is basically on a university campus. We're not tied to just one particular university. We used to be tied to just PSU, but we had to get out from underneath that because I will not adhere to university politics. I feel like it holds me back from being able to apply for grants for people to help them with housing, to help them with whatever, right? So when I still had it in my heart, like the biggest desire to know Stan more, ask him, how did you do this? How was this possible for you? Who opened the door for you? How do I find that person? Not that particular person, right? But how do I find the person that's going to open the door for me? And he was like, come on. So we went to Atlanta to INCHEP and met the whole P2P crew. They said, why don't you just sign up and take our program to be a scholar? And I was like, okay. Man, they're on East Coast time and we're on West Coast time. So every Saturday and Sunday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning for us was grueling, but we did it and we loved it.
And that's just explaining all the things we get to do. We get to work together. We take classes together. We even took the same classes for a lot of when we first got out. So we were doing homework together. And it hasn't been until about the last, 6 months that we realized, like, I need something from the store. Okay, well, it's right across the street.
Yeah, and really busy.
So, we just barely have been like, okay, I can get in the car, I can go to the store, I can. Do you want anything?
But it feels so weird. It feels so weird.
It's just barely been the last 5-6 months that we have actually
Had to.
loosened our.
It gives me anxiety. If I get in the car by myself and I have to go to the store or go somewhere, I instantly miss her the minute I get in the car and she's not in there. And I go to the store and I'm just like, oh my God, I want to show her this. I want to talk to her about this. And she's not there. And I'm just like, okay. It's horrible. I hurry up and speed home.
Yeah, we do. But it's not it's not time because I'd never want, but it's just that's how slow we've been able to re-enter life.
Well, that's how much time we've spent building that strength that now we're just like, okay, your mom's had an emergency. She's in the hospital. I have to stay here. I'll stay here with the cats. You go. It's okay. And I'm just like, not because I can't do it, but because I can't do it without her. And it gives me, I panic a little bit sometimes, even in my mom's house, which has been my home forever. Like I always go home to my mom, no matter what. I never wanted to leave my mom, ever. I would still live there. If they had a big enough house and the situation was right, I would want to be right with my mom. Because it's like trauma bonding. We grew up together.
We've been together 45 years.
That's what she says. I know everything about you. We've been together 45 years. And I'm like, I'm older than that, Mom. She's like, don't make me old. My mom, oh my God. We grew up together. I remember her 21st birthday. I was sitting in the American Legion with her, sitting there kicking my feet, drinking Shirley Temples and eating cheese popcorn while she was blowing out her candles on her cake. And so we grew up together. And that's why we probably butt heads a lot, or you know what I mean? It's the same. We're the same. Except for she's a little more like my grandma now. But I miss my grandma too. Yes, and she still doesn't really understand the scope of my work or what I do or what the possibilities are because she's on the coast and she's in a small country town. She's not exposed to all that. Like when she's still under the impression that going to prison is real taboo. And it might be in some situations or some circles, but I don't have any qualms about making myself very well known everywhere I go, meeting people, introducing myself. I don't care if it's the Oregon State Legislature or something national. I will look at me. Here I am, I don't have any problems with that because I'm not ashamed of that. I mean, the world should be ashamed for trying to make me a monster. I'm not ashamed that I came out better than what they ever could have expected. And I've got support on the West Coast and the East Coast, and I loving every minute of it.
I'm gonna let that one soak in for a second. So a lot of couples don't make it. The system is not built for connection, it's built for control.
Mm-hmm.
So what saved you two?
Let me think about this. Because everybody's answer is always, oh, we're so in love. Well, yes, that's the truth, but it doesn't matter how in love you are. Sometimes love is not enough and the world will break you apart, I can't breathe without her. traumatize myself on a daily basis thinking about what's going to happen, and we're getting older. I mean, how old am I? I'll be 47 in November, and I think about a lot of things like whichever one of us dies first, but my panic is, what if she dies first? I could never call anybody to come and pick up her body to take her away. Do you see what I'm saying? That's so weird. That's so horrible to say, but I'm just saying that how could I ever do that and be okay? So uh, I got to learn how to cope with that. You know what I mean? People get older and they pass away. I got to learn how to cope with that. She just got me my first pet that I've ever had in my life that was my own. And I have a 1.5-year-old kitten that was the best thing besides my wife that ever happened. I what kept us together is this. Actually, I have the answer for that. What kept us together is the support system that we've created, or that has been created for us and handed to us, has been nothing but things that have contributed to a successful life together of building a family, um, putting two families together, and it's not always easy and it's not always nice, you know. But the support system that we have, like I said, there's many entities involved in this.
Yeah.
There's our own personal family members.
We were also given opportunity to, the day we got out, we signed up. We're AmeriCorps members, and we have been AmeriCorps members since day one. And what that has done for us is removed all of the barriers so that we could actually have a life together, work on reunification with our children. And if we were working full time, both separate jobs, trying to make ends meet, we've had such a non traditional opportunity to spend time together, to actually get to know each other better than we know ourselves. And with all those barriers removed, I think that's allowed us to create a more tight bond.
Yeah, because we spend every day together no matter what now. We don't have to go separate ways to go to work, you know? We go to school together, we do come home, do our homework together, we work together, even though we have different skill sets and different passions, right? She's got a different path that way, but I've this path and she's got this path, but we do it together, right? And we're still in the same spectrum of progress in the same path. But Deb Arthur making sure that we had a living wage when we got out, that way we could at least survive and like to do our homework. And it's hard. When I found out how much rent was, I stomped my feet and said, I'll never pay that. Oh God, yes I do pay that. But it's so expensive to live that we're so fortunate to have each other, because now we have it's like 2 living stipends instead of just 1, right? So it has allowed us to pay our bills and move forward, going to school and build Project Rebound and like branch out to P2P and create a foundation there and have all the doors open to us and freely given. Like, Stan doesn't act like a gatekeeper. He's not a gatekeeper. He's like, "Oh, you need that? Okay, here, I'm going to introduce you. I know somebody." That's, to me, that's my addiction. I was never addicted to doing drugs. I was addicted to the hustle. And so to hustle legally and for a good cause and to help people is very satisfying, gratifying. Um, it's a very satisfying occupation to have all these resources that I can pull from anywhere to be able to help the people that cross my path in need. And so it kind of teaches me how to be. It teaches me how to act. I don't act like a gatekeeper, you know? I'm like, "Oh, you need that? Okay, well, here, let me introduce you to this person." Or we sign people up for P2P. We're like, "Listen, we have this program. We know this, we know these people, and we are mentors in this program. And this is what we do, and this is what it sets you up to do. And then after that, you go on to be a mentor yourself, if you're interested. And after that, further on down the road, and then you're P2P family forever. That's what I love about Project Rebound and P2P. Once you are them, you will forever be them. So I told Stan, I don't care who tells me I'm not P2P anymore. I don't care about any of that. I will always be that. And so everything past my name, that's what I write. P2P scholar, mentor, author. Now the owner of Project Rebound P2P, our program that we built. So we have the ability to expand to community services, other institutions. We are the only ones in the state of Oregon, the only vetted members with a legal MOU. So, and we got some pretty good support, and that's how I met Mancy, actually, is through Jason Bell. And when I saw him on P2P, I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, what are you doing here? I was like, well, I signed up for this. And he's like, well, good, because I work here. Welcome to the family. It was great.
You talked about learned habits earlier. The learned habits of doing good and paying it forward are just as infectious.
Yeah.
That's what happened with a bunch of our people in prison that watched us. They're like following in our footsteps, going to college classes, finding out that it's nothing like high school. High school is ridiculous. Seriously. Our son is fast tracking so fast through high school on his own because he's just doing it on his own because COVID shut everything down and kicked people back a year, for school. So to catch up, he does the online school, and he's been able to learn everything, fast track it, and do all of his work and succeed greatly. Why don't they do that for everybody? Why do you have to go to school every day, all day, 8 hours a day, and burn yourself out, and then you never want to go to school again? But then when people see what you really do in college, that it's all about you, it changes things.
It's a completely different animal. I want to segue a little bit.
Okay.
Because this, speaking of paying it forward and giving back, this is jumping into that bucket.
Yeah.
So for couples navigating trauma, incarceration, or rebuilding, think about what are 3 rules or truths that you'd offer for doing it together.
I feel like if you don't do it together, no matter what you have to navigate, through mental health, through learning how to navigate the world, to learning how to deal with trauma, if you don't do it together, you're going to end up maybe growing apart or maybe going a different direction, or maybe, you need to have that time of learning each other, right? And learning and understanding. Really, I could hear the same thing 50 times and on the 51st time finally understand, right? It takes time and effort, and if you give up, then you're just another statistic. I'm tired of losing in my life.
I'm trying to think of 3 simple rules. I think there's a lot of things that change from living in prison or surviving in prison and always being in survival mode to then when you get out, it's not like that just goes away. You still are constantly feeling to need to protect yourself. And so acceptance of where you are, where you are together, where you are personally. You have to accept that things change and be willing to roll with the ebb and flow of the waves.
Yeah, because how you are in prison is not how you are out here. Because the world is crazy and it changes your behavior, you know? Like I got out and the world was too fast for me. It took me weeks to try to grasp the concept of the MAX train goes really fast and the buses, you know what I mean? I don't know how to do this, don't know how to navigate. Technologically challenged because I lost 10 years in prison. Like, it was, and I was 2 weeks late starting a term. They got me admitted into PSU and I was 2 weeks late and it was like, oh my God, I don't know how to navigate this. I did really well though. Because I had Rachel, I had family, I had Red Lodge Transition Services. That's where I paroled to because I refused to go back home. I'm from Klamath Falls, Oregon. I refused to go back there. I fell from there. I will never fall again from there. I will wave at it passing through because I was born there and there's nothing good there. Just heartbreak for it's like you've got a few tribes and surrounding a little agricultural city, who's predominantly uh historically white people. And so you're surrounded by tribal people in the res. It's really heartbreaking. Like my mom's white, my dad's native. It's a very heartbreaking situation because I don't fit in anywhere, either side. You have to fight your way in. Finally, when they get tired of fighting with you and they just accept you, then you can survive. So, the thing about learning how to navigate the world together is prison puts you on mental health meds that are not for you. They have these, DOC has a formulary. So it's just like a list of mental health meds, which is not very long, right? That DOC will pay for. And so if you're depressed, they put you on this one pill. Everybody in the whole prison's on that same pill, okay? And you wonder why things happen. So we've fought about this for years, DOC, because they would never give me the meds that I needed or the meds that I had been on that I had such great success with my whole life. And so when I was in prison, they just put me on all kinds of oh my God, I was so sick for a long time, huh? It was bad. And then when I got out, I was still on the prison meds because I couldn't get into mental health because there's a lack of mental health workers right now in Oregon somewhere. And it took a long time to try to get into them, and it was not worth my time or effort. And I wanted off those prison meds because they're not for me. They're not the right kind of mental health meds. And so um, I had a mental breakdown last year. About lost my marbles, and you had to get me some help. And I just needed off those meds. Needed to be stable. And I have a lot of trauma from my past. Depression and ADHD and PTSD, and that's about it. But you had to get me some help, and she got me help right away, and they changed my meds. I feel a lot better. I feel good now. However, that's something that I'm going to attempt to change in the state of Oregon because now it becomes a human rights, right? You're purposely hurting people, causing harm to people who are incarcerated that can't fight for themselves. They can't even call anybody to have them call. You know what I mean? It's an 800. If it's an automated phone, nobody there to pick it up and push anything. What are you going to do? You can't get through to those people. And once you go to prison, it's like you're forgotten about and nobody cares anyways to call. Nobody follows through with anything. It makes me so mad. So there's a lot of harm being done. And, I have a list of things that I'm going to go after because now it becomes a humanitarian thing.
Yeah, almost like one of those movies where, there's people locked up in a cellar because this madman is kidnapping them,
Yeah.
chaining them to the wall in a cement room. And one of them gets out and says, "I'm going to go find help and I'll come back."
Yeah. And then they don't
That's
come.
what it sounds like.
And then they don't come. Nobody follows through. They get busy with life, or they get sidetracked, or they get killed, or they do drugs, or fentanyl gets them, or something crazy. But hardly anybody ever comes back for those people. I'm not
With
built.
a tank to bust through the wall.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not built like that.
So we're talking about, we've been in this in-depth conversation. It covers the chapter in the book that you guys wrote, and it's all encompassing in this episode. Give me a message. What's the message that you hope that this episode and that chapter leaves behind? What's the message?
I like the final line: if you've fallen like us, don't be afraid to reach for the hands that reach for you.
Say that again.
If you've fallen like we have, do not be afraid to reach for the hands that are reaching for you.
You can't create relationships with people in prison and just drop it at the gate or forget about it at the gate, because I don't know. I'm not built like that. I just can't forget people. Like right now, I have women inside MCIW. I said, I don't care how long these classes go on or how long they have programming or whatever goes on. I will never leave these women behind. They're on my contact list. I talk to them. They're counting on me. And they don't ask for anything crazy. They say, can you do some research and find a college that might accept correspondence, or I might be eligible for Pell for? You know what I mean?
Real world stuff.
Yeah, real world stuff. They don't ask me to contact their lawyer or their governor's office and try to get them out and da 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 da.
Boyfriend.
Yeah, they don't ask any of that. They say, can you please help me? Can you find me a correspondence school that will accept Pell because I'm eligible for Pell now? Or can you make contact with this college and find out why they're offering it at the men's prison across the street, but they're not offering it here for us? Oh, I called the guys here at InChip. I'm going to talk to them because I need to know why. I need to create that, light that fire, or that, ignite that passion to spark an interest for people to do something. Because you're just as guilty. If you turn your head and you ignore it, you are just as guilty as the person that's doing it. So I never keep my mouth shut. It's probably going to be the downfall of me somewhere. But I never keep my mouth shut. I'm just using it for positive things now. And I think the one message is you're not forgotten. You're never forgotten. I think that was the worst thing for me. Everybody that ever said they loved me, or they just forgot me. And everybody just died or went to prison, or I don't know, they're off and running somewhere, But if you did that to me while I'm in prison, I don't have anything for you when I get out. If you need help or you want help and you're serious, I'll help you. I don't care who you are. Even if I don't like you, I will help you. But you got to be serious and you got to put in the work, because I'm not going to carry you. Because I have responsibilities and priorities and obligations to myself and to my family. And I don't have time for any BS, So if you want to give me the runaround, just fall off. So I will never forget people.
Fallen but not forgotten.
Yeah.
It should be a t-shirt in your merch store.
Yeah.
Well, my story starts out a suicide mission. The chapter starts out a suicide mission. Because I was not going to prison for 10 years. Because I had already been there once, right? And I have 28 years of in and out of jail constantly. And then prison, and then prison again. I did half my sentence in Washington and half of it in Oregon. That was a long trip. But I tried to make the cops shoot me I had a standoff with him. My brother's a decorated war veteran. He's a Marine, and he just happened to be up there visiting my mother. And he brought his little daughter, and that's my niece, and I don't have any others, you know? And she's just a little tiny baby, and it's like my first time seeing her, and I'm so in love with her, you know, because I love my brother. I raised him. I took him from my mother, wouldn't let her have him, and she didn't even bond with her own baby. So I was like 13 and I hated her for having him because I was an only child and I was, you know, spoiled, right? And then when he was born and I looked at him, I just grabbed him and never gave him back to her. And she was like, "Can I have my own baby?" And I was like, "Nope." I carried him everywhere. I took him everywhere with me. He was mine. So when I got to see my niece, I went back to the house I was staying at because I was on the run. So I knew I was getting 10 years and the cops had me surrounded. I called my mom on the phone. I said, "You better, if you want to say goodbye to me or you know what I mean, Mom, they got me surrounded. I'm going to make them shoot me." And she was like, "Oh my God, here, I'm coming." So she showed up and she's trying to tell the cops, "Listen, she's serious." Because I told them, I said, "You know what? I got some propane tanks up here and I got a whole box of matches, so you come on up." My mom's like, "She's serious." And she knew I was serious because I've been telling her that for like 10 months. And she knows I'm off my rocker. If I say something, I'm serious. And then when I called downstairs again, it took about 3 hours, you know what I mean? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on the phone. And then I heard my mom talking to somebody, and it was my brother. And my heart just dropped. I said, "God, why did you do this to me? This was my last meal, and are you serious? This is what you were going to do to make me come out?" Because I could not do that to my brother. Not after 3 tours in Afghanistan. So I told the cop, "Hey, listen, don't shoot me. I'm going to come out. I need to talk to my brother. I just need to hug him and tell him I'm sorry before I go." He said, "Lisa, if you come out, I promise you can hug your family goodbye." I said, "Okay, I'm coming out with my hands up and a whole case file, medical file coming with me, and all my pills and my phone and my charger." And I came out and he said, "Just come downstairs. We'll walk around back or whatever, you know." Of course, my brother's wearing a shirt that says DV, disgruntled veteran, leave me alone. That didn't help the situation. And it didn't help that he was in the military for bombs. They said, "Hey, you spent a lot of time with your sister?" And he was like, "Yeah, why? That's my sister." They're like, "Oh, God." But they took me around back, and I just needed to tell him I was sorry before I went. Then it took me to the hospital for medical clearance, and then I ran from the hospital. Because I couldn't make him shoot me in front of my brother, and he didn't even live in that town, so he went home. And then I ran from the hospital because I'm not giving the state 10 years of my life willingly. Hell no, you're going to have to catch me. Here we go again. So I got a ride, ran in up on my mom's porch, banging on her window. "Open the door, open the door." And she said, "Oh my God, they're going to shoot you now." I said, "I know, open the door." I ran for 2 weeks. She's like, "Get out of here. You cannot be here right now. They're going to shoot you here." So I left. My brother said, "I'm done with this." That was horrible because I wrote him and he never answered me. And I called him and he never answered me. I'd call my mom and he'd be there and he wouldn't talk to me on the phone. So, my cellie in Washington where I went to prison when I fell up there, Susan Kroll, she had a life sentence and who was recently challenged the parole board and they're finally letting her out next month. I showed up to her parole hearing. I told her, "I'll never leave you. As soon as I get out of Oregon prison, I'll write you, I promise." She taught me how to do charity quilts. So I have awards from like 2000 something charity quilts that we did at WCCW for the Hearts of Valor, you know. Um, it's a ladies' guild that actually brings the fabric in and people make the quilts. And I sit in my cell and hand bind the bindings by hand, every stitch. And I never get to see the military people that they go to because the women take the quilts and meet them on when they come off the plane and give them to them. But every stitch, I thought, I get to hug every one of them. So I have a big heart for veterans. And my brother has let me back into his life. I walked out of prison and I went to my mom's, and my little niece was, how old was she then? 9 when I got out? Right after her 9th birthday. And he said, well, you wanted my daughter, there she is. And I couldn't believe, I was so scared, I couldn't believe it. I was like, you're gonna let me take her to the store? Really? And he's like, yeah. Because he knows me. And she fell in love with you, you fell in love with her. I love her so much, and I love my brother, and I wrote her the whole time I was in prison to create a relationship with her. I told my mom, please tell her about me. Please tell her. And I have a son. I have a 25-year-old son that my family took from me, not my mother. Her brother said that they would never keep him from me. Won't like me. They've told him all kinds of bad things about me. Now he lives in New York. And he's got some issues of his own, and I never did anything to him, you know what I mean? It was just domestic violence that they took him from me. How does that happen? You're a victim of domestic violence, like I can control some drunk Indian from hitting me? And I say that with the utmost respect because I am half Native. But I can't control people, and so how is that ever right? When your child gets taken because somebody hit you. The system is so broken. However, giving me 120 months was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. And, they've created a monster. A good one. And, my niece is proud of me, and my brother's proud of me. And they invite us for Thanksgiving, they invite us for holidays, and it never happened. Nobody gets that when they get out. I don't ever hear that from anybody. Nobody ever gets that. They just pick up where they left off. That my mom's house still looks the same. Maybe just a few more things, but the same blankets, the same quilts that I made and sent home. The same everything. The only thing that's different is my mom's way older and survived cancer and uh, heart problems and a stroke that almost killed her. It almost killed me. And so the only thing that matters to me is family. And P2P is family. And Stan has never forgotten about me. Even though I'm on the West Coast, he's never forgotten about me. If I call him and tell him I have a problem or I need something, and I say, listen, if you have any ideas, pass them my way. And a month later, he calls and he's like, okay, I need a meeting with you and your team. We're going to do this, you know? You don't find people like that. You don't find people like San Francisco State Project Rebound people. There are other Project Rebound people in 19 other universities in California, but I don't know them like I know Jason Bell. And that family is going to live on and on and on. And I'm going to pass it on and on.
They gave you some superpowers, and you're using those superpowers for good to their own detriment.
Yeah, because you'll never silence me. Never. I'm pretty loud. You'll never silence me. And Mancy has impacted my life in a way that I never thought possible. I've never touched anybody that has ever walked off death row. That's pretty amazing. And he just gives to us freely, uses every bit of himself and experiences and resources. He walked off death row for a reason.
Now that we've got everybody leaning forward in their chairs, how can people follow your story or support the work that you're doing now? Let's think about the plugs, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to see this.
Yeah.
Let's do it right. So take a breath, think about it. This is what they call a call to action, because now you've got their attention. If they're here at the end of this podcast, they want to know more.
Oh, yeah.
They want to drink the Kool-Aid, and they want to be a part of it. So this is the moment where you can tell people how to follow your story and support the work that you're doing.
So, obviously, you'll always find me at P2P. And you'll always find me at Project Rebound PNW, because we own it now. And so we have... You want me to tell my email addresses? Is that what you're asking? What are you asking?
If somebody wants to reach out, website.
Oh, yeah, I've got
email,
a website.
Social medias, all the good stuff.
Well, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. You'll find me there. Obviously, they have my name. So we're changing our name. So my name is Lisa Guirsch. And your name is Rachel Webb, and together we are Lisa Guirsch-Webb. So the next step that I have, the only step I have left to do is add Webb to my last name, which is what we're doing before this book comes out. But on social media, it's all Lisa Guirsch, and LinkedIn is Lisa Guirsch. We have projectreboundpnw.com. That's our website that I've created and started to edit and add people and things and collaborators and partners. Really what we need right now is just starting out and being basically forced to file for an LLC, because this Trump administration is scrutinizing nonprofit world right now. And that's not a very good start for us, right? We can't start out as a nonprofit. We're going to be scrutinized, and it's going to be really hard. However, so now that we own this and it's an LLC, we need support. We need investors. We need collaborators. We need people who have the same values and believe in helping others and paying it forward. And there are 5 of us with all different skill sets. And it's amazing, because when I say wraparound services, you might as well just put us in a circle, because we can wrap around everything. I really wish the other people of our team was here, but we've got culturally specific skill sets. We've got a very diverse group of people and experiences, and we all have come together with different resources, which makes us pretty powerful, right? When we all put it on the table. We just need a jump start, you know?
What's the best way for somebody to get in touch?
Email me, lisa.gersh@gmail.com. Hit me up on projectreboundpnw.com or projectreboundpnw@gmail.com. Either way, I answer everybody. It doesn't matter. I answer everybody. Or Facebook or LinkedIn.
You can buy our book, Breaking Chains and Building Futures.
Yeah, buy the book because the other authors, I wasn't aware of who else was co-authoring this book until I got the list, and I was jumping up and down because we've got people with PhDs and scientists and a man that walked off death row, and I was just, it is the most powerful, amazing story together.
Yeah, buy a book.
Yeah, buy a
Give a
book.
book.
Buy a book. Send a book. Send a book in. That's my plan. I'm going to buy a book and send one into every prison that I can think of, just because if one inmate gets it, and I hate it when people say AIC because we are not adults in custody. It makes it sound like that's really demeaning. I don't care what anybody says. For me personally, I am incarcerated or I'm an inmate. You know what I mean? I'm not an adult in custody. No, you treat me like a child. I can't make my own decisions. You know what I mean? You make them for me. And I'm not an adult in custody. So I'm going to send one into every prison because then they start passing it around like we did with Stan's first book, right? We got excited and passed it to everybody, and now everybody wants that same path,
Yeah,
you know?
pick an inmate, pick a SID number, and
Forge a relationship, join a pen pal site that P2P has. You know, they have the pen pal program, things like that. Just, there's some people in there whose family is all gone. At MCIW, I have this woman who's 77, and everybody she ever had is gone, and all she has is her cat. Oh, she has me.
That's awesome.
That's pretty powerful.
And speaking it into existence, you know, in the near future, there's going to be people watching this where they're already emailing you while they're still watching this part right now. And I think that's pretty powerful as well.
Yeah, we need opportunity, you know? Being incarcerated so long, it's like, we attend these events like NCHEP and other reentry things, and I sit on so many community advisory boards and so many webinars across the nation because I'm curious about MDOC and MPEC and everything that's going on. Like, I want what Randy Liberty has brought to Maine, I want in Oregon. And I'm coming for Oregon, and they know. I've already told them. I take it to the legislature, I take it to the head of reentry, DOC reentry, and he knows. I'm coming, but I have to come prepared with all my information, a problem and a solution. Like, it's a no-brainer, right? What Randy Liberty's done, it's a no-brainer. So you have people incarcerated, but you have these fair wage employers that will employ them. He's got like 45 to 60 inmates inside making $90,000 a year, and people balk at that out here, right? They're like, what? People inside are making $90,000 a year? That's wrong. Well, check this out. They pay for all their cost of incarceration, so it doesn't cost that state anything to house them. They pay all their fines, fees, and restitution that would never be paid until that person got out, right? Which could be sometimes 20, 25 years, whatever. But they pay all that. They pay everything, and so it goes all to the victim, you know what I mean? Everything's paid off. Everything's good to go. They also pay their child support. They also file taxes. They pay their taxes. They also send money home to their families because their families are struggling raising their kids, you know, the inmates' kids. So the family's like facing houselessness and they're on welfare and they have housing programs and all this stuff. That inmate is able to send that money home to their family members, and their kids are taken care of and they're being parented by the parent that's inside, being responsible. So if you're in such a budget deficit as a state, what is your problem? Why would you why wouldn't you do this? What's the problem? You can't blame it on safety and security of the institution anymore, because miss me with that, because you know that that's a lie. That's just an excuse to keep big business and keep, the system perpetuating. So it actually makes productive citizens, because now they're actually being productive members of society and doing the things that normal, responsible people do, right? Like file taxes, pay their child support, all that stuff. But it's not costing the state billions of dollars. And Oregon has the fourth highest homeless population. So why wouldn't you try to alleviate that? You're always worried about, the governor's office is always worried about money. I get the budgets all the time. I pull financials on everything because I'm curious and I want to know, right? But what Randy's been able to do, and sure, there's been some hiccups. There's always hiccups with any program. It doesn't matter. There's always hiccups anywhere, everywhere. But those things get ironed out, right? And it's not like every inmate makes $90,000 a year. No, you have to fit the criteria. You have to have this certain degree or that degree or working towards this or whatever the employer needs. You have to fit that criteria, and your behavior has to be better. Has to be better than the rest of the inmates. You have to have a solid record. You can't jeopardize you can't jeopardize the program. They're very selective with the people that they select for this or give them the ability to do this. But I met a guy inside Maine in prison there that was on a P2P scholars program. It was on Zoom. So I sit on Zoom with women inside MCIW, and then this guy, Chris, that's in Maine in prison on Zoom taking P2P classes. Wow. That was pretty amazing. So I just don't understand why people want to stay in the problem and not the solution. That money could be better allocated to other things and other programs. But where's the humanity anymore? Humanity's lost. But Randy's been able to increase public safety, reduce recidivism, obviously. It doesn't cost the state anything to house people in a transition house if they have the money when they get out to pay for their own house. So why wouldn't you allow that? Well, anyways, I want that in Oregon. I want that for the people that are still there. I want that for their families. And we could fight other battles with the money that they uselessly spend on incarcerated individuals just to beat the humanity out of them. So that's my objective, really, is to give people the opportunity. It's more of a restorative outlook, right? If I harm you or I break something of yours, let's say you're so mad you want to put me in jail for it because I broke it, but you're not going to get paid for that or get me to replace that until I get out. So if it's something really important and you need that restoration in order to move forward in your life, whatever it is, why are you stalling the fact that I can fix that? I don't know. There comes a time when restorative measures are better than punitive measures because there's no justice in punitive measures. You could put somebody in prison, but that will not bring somebody back from being dead, right? Or being harmed. You can't change that trauma. If you put somebody in prison, now you just took that person away from their family. So not only did that family lose somebody, that family lost somebody. And it doesn't make any sense, right? There's some certain situation where people need to be in prison. Sorry, I've met some of them. They should never get out. But then there's other people that could be used as tools better. You know? You want a better world for your children? You better be actively participating in making that world better. Or things are going to change. You can't just expect it to be better for your children and not do anything about it to make it better. I want a better world for my niece. I want a better world for my son. I want a better world for everybody.
It's a different mindset than when you were sitting there with matches in a tank of propane.
Oh, God. I was so panicked.
Wow. Ladies, this was awesome. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing in the way that you did. I'm very excited about this book, and I'm very
Me
excited
too.
for people to see this episode.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how many people reach out. I know probably right now they're already on the website scrolling and sending you an email draft, but I'll be happy to see it.
Nice.
It's good change in the right direction.
Yeah, thanks for.
Yeah, the website is a work in progress because I created it for a business assignment. And I was like, if I have to do this, I'm just going to use my own business in here. And so I did that. So it's being edited and updated, and I'm going to ask P2P communications person to help me.
Yeah, resource assistance, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there's any technical difficulties on that website, just email me.